Zach Cruz did an article that I saw today, and it's the all Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers team. So he's taking the 53-man roster, okay, and he's taking players from the Brett Favre, anybody who played during the Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers era, and he's making that his team. So he's putting a 53-man roster together. So I thought we'd look at it, and then of course educate the people, and tell them the truth. And you would run a scroller across the bottom that tells you, what the actual truth is about all this stuff, right? So we'll go through the whole list.
I got to be on my game then. All right, let's do it.
Jason's going to hopefully put down in the little comments, he'll put put quarterback 1, whoever, 2, whoever, and 3, whoever, and then we'll just keep adding to it. Let that keep scrolling, then we'll add the running backs, and then it'll just keep scrolling on the bottom like we did with the quarterback rankings. And I think it'll be a fun little thing, and everybody can have a little say. I can't see anything because I'm just looking at my screen, so I don't see the chats and all that, so you're going to have to watch the chats too. Sorry, but that's just the way it works. Unless I can somehow open another screen, I don't know how to do. I'm not that smart. Okay, so first off, we're doing quarterbacks. So remember, this is between 1992, Don Mikowski gets hurt, Brett Favre comes in the game. So anybody who played at that point until the end of the 2022 season can make up a part of this team. Anybody. Okay? Don Mikowski never played again for the Packers, so he can't make it. So because of that, if you look, I don't know, can you see my cursor? Over here is the list of names.
Yep.
Brett Favre, they have 1A. Aaron Rodgers, 1B. But number 3, a guy who didn't even play. He played 20. They said he threw only 29 passes for the Packers. Was Matt Hasselbeck. So they obviously took his. They're taking account the play that they had outside of the Packers as well. I am probably not going to do that, but in this case I will, because of course Matt Hasselbeck's my favorite. So if we, in this case, since we're taking it outside of the team, I say my vote is Matt Hasselbeck number 1. What's your opinion on that?
Well, I mean, in terms of I'm not gonna. Oh, God, I was watching some stuff of Rodgers in the past. He was really good for a while. He really was.
Okay, fine. Put Rodgers number 1.
I mean, I hate him.
Hasselbeck's number 2.
I take Hasselbeck over Favre. Yeah, I'll give you that.
I'm eating some fries, so just so you know.
Especially because Hasselbeck wouldn't make as many dumb plays as Favre. And yeah, I'd take Hasselbeck over Favre. Just remember, if you're factoring that in, I mean, Matt Hasselbeck with the Seahawks was really freaking good. And he was held down by Mike Holmgren, he was suppressed a little bit by the Holmgren putziness.
He played great, but they had a MVP
and he had terrible
running back.
Terrible receivers as well.
Right. But he also had an MVP running back stealing every 1 and 2 yard touchdown pass that Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers got. That's the thing people don't understand. We look at Matt Hasselbeck's stats and they're like, oh, well, he was good. I actually looked at his stats the other day. They're pretty damn good. But, I'm just saying he had a team where the running back scored 20, 30 touchdowns. He set the running back touchdown record one year. Then it got broken right after that, the next year by LaDainian Tomlinson. But, I mean, he was on a different type of team. That team knew how to win games by running the ball in the red zone. And the Packers, they had 2 egomaniacs at quarterback who were first-round picks. Matt Hasselbeck was a 5th-round pick or 6th-round pick who ended up being awesome. So he's high in my rating. And I definitely liked him more than Brett Favre. So I'm putting him at least 2. So let's put Aaron Rodgers 1, Matt Hasselbeck 2, Brett Favre 3. There are a bunch of other guys who played for the Packers during that time. You're talking Ty Detmer. You're talking Aaron Brooks, Mark Brunell. And then after that, probably a bunch of scrubs that nobody cares about because it's, Matt Flynn.
None of them really. None of those guys really did as much in the NFL, though.
Well, Mark they have Matt Flynn has just missed it. So obviously, I don't know what Zach Cruz is. Yeah,
Matt
over.
Flynn.
They have Matt Flynn over Mark Brunell and Aaron Brooks,
Mark
who had
Brunell
way better careers than Matt Flynn.
Yeah, Mark Brunell was a good NFL quarterback.
He played for a long time with the Jags, and Aaron Brooks played for a long time with the Saints. So they had way bigger careers than Matt Flynn. So the fact that Hasselbeck makes the list only throwing 29 passes is kind of a joke. I don't know. But there is nobody else. I mean, Brett Favre never came out of the game. And when Aaron Rodgers got hurt, we had the likes of, what's his face? Oh, I can't remember half these idiots' names, right?
They didn't have anybody any good when
they all sucked. So you can't put any of those guys on here. So he went with Hasselbeck because Hasselbeck got through a Super Bowl, right? So that's why. But it's a kind of a dumb list when it comes to the quarterbacks. So are you ready to move on, or you got everything on this tracker down there?
Yep.
Okay, we're moving on. Here we go. We're going to running backs.
We have the I've titled it the D-bag era best 53-man roster is what my article title of this article would be. But go ahead.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, so they're going running backs 3. I think we should just stick with the amount that he went with for each position. Let's not try to add, because it'll be too hard to keep track of all that crap. So we're going to go with 3 running backs. He's got Ahman Green number 1, and based on stats, I understand that. Aaron Jones number 2, Dorsey Levens number 3. I agree with those 3 players, not in that order. What do you think? Or maybe I mean, you're a way bigger Ahman Green fan than I ever was.
Well,
he put up a lot of yards and a lot of touchdowns. And
his production was really good.
But the difference was when he was the star, the team stunk.
Yeah.
Now I don't know if that was part of that was Brett Favre, throwing picks and whatever, but it wasn't like they were like in the playoffs. They missed they had a couple down years in there.
Right.
So I don't know what you think about that, but yeah, based on stats. But that's the other thing I want to be really clear. We're going to do it based on performance and ability on the field.
He also got a lot more opportunities than Aaron Jones.
Right. That's the thing. I mean, the guy got 1,000 million carries. And if there was a 1-yard touchdown, he would get the 1-yard touchdown sometimes. Or at least a 1-yard touchdown pass. Aaron Jones never gets any of those. So, I mean, you know me. I'll put Aaron Jones number 1. I'm putting Ahman Green number 2, and I'll put Dorsey at number 3 because Dorsey's my second favorite Packer of all time, right after Aaron Jones. So, I love my 2 running backs, but it's up to you. Ahman Green had a great run of a couple years there.
Yeah. But Aaron Jones down.
Right, but Aaron Jones is still going, and now he's the leader of the team. Ahman Green was never had to be the leader of the team. Ahman Green was never like,
right,
the sole. I don't know what to say it, but like the fan base, he didn't have the charisma of Aaron Jones, that kind of stuff. So,
and he was different.
I don't know.
He was different in.
He was good though.
He had some moves, but he ran over guys more.
Yeah,
than
he was
Aaron
pretty
Jones
big.
Than Aaron Jones makes guys miss. Like Aaron Jones runs physically, and we talk about how he makes people miss in a different way than most people do. And not that Ahman Green didn't make people miss, but he would like lower his shoulder and run over Vikings all the time, and that was awesome. I mean, so a lot of people get excited about that when you just run over a guy because it's kind of an exciting thing. So I think people like have a glorified bit of him a little bit more just because he did that probably more often than Aaron Jones isn't going to like lower his shoulder and run over a guy. He's going to run through and gain yards after contact, make people miss and break tackles, but not in the same way, in a different way.
Well, does anybody have comments in the comment screen? Like, obviously I will, whatever the consensus in the comments is, if they say Ahman Green over Aaron Jones, like, the stats say that, and he was a good player, so I'm not going to be like, no. But this one, I would say this one, they got the right 3 guys there, obviously, because Dorsey's I'm going to say that because Dorsey's my second favorite, but Dorsey had so many huge games in the playoffs, and then just injuries just took the toll on his body, and it's a shame that he had to sit behind Edgar that the first couple of years where he could have, if he would have given the damn ball, he'd probably have stats like Ahman Green, but whatever.
And Ryan Grant just missed? What?
Yeah.
Okay. Ryan Grant was not that good, but he was okay, but not that great.
He wasn't bad, but he was a long line. He started the long line of guys between Ahman Green and Aaron Jones. Well, he didn't start it, but he was part of it. The Sam Congados and all these random guys, James Starks and Eddie Lacy, and that were they were fine, but they weren't up to the snuff of these 3 guys. So
Lee's comment was that Ahman Green had a way better line than Aaron Jones had.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Wait, a better offensive line, like rushing offensive line for sure.
Yeah, and probably a better offensive system to run the ball too. Like Mike Sherman.
I don't know about that.
I don't know. They were pretty during the Mike Sherman years. They were pretty focused on running the ball. And Favre had a lot of, lower total years, like not all the pass attempts, not all of the, not as high touchdown totals. Like a lot of that stuff happened. And Ahman Green was really kind of the featured guy on the offense during that span, because even when he wasn't handed it to him, he was throwing it to him, because Favre would take all the easy completions to Ahman Green, because he, unlike Aaron Rodgers, didn't really give a crap if he threw like a negative 2-yard pass and the guy ran with it and whatever, that's what made one of the other things that was different between him and Rodgers. Rick put Green ahead of Jones right now, but a big year from Jones might change that in his mind. Yeah. So we got a split decision there. But
they say Ahman Green had 61 total touchdowns in his career. Aaron Jones has 45, I think,
he has
right
60.
now.
He has 60.
He has 60. Oh, there you go. He's only one touchdown down.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Aaron Jones he's going to pass him up. He's going to pass him. That's it. I veto it. Aaron Jones number one. Put Aaron Jones number one.
Ahman Green had that one monster year of like 1,800, almost 1,900 rushing yards and 18 touchdowns or whatever the hell it was. Yeah. I mean, he was just like a
2,250 yards, 20 touchdown season in 2009.
I mean, Aaron Jones has never done that. But
he had a 19 touchdown season in 2019.
Right? But you're talking about consistency. You're talking about effectiveness. And ultimately, yards. Ahman Green had a good yards per attempt, but it couldn't touch Aaron Jones' yard per carry. So, I'll give it to Jones. I'm good.
And they say here, Dorsey Levens had 1,805 total yards and 12 touchdowns in 1997.
Ooh. Jonathan said
the year that he took over the starting running back job from Edgar Bennett.
Right. Green hit the hole like a bat out of hell, says Jonathan.
He did. He was pretty good. He was. I'm not saying
he was
bad.
physical. Greg Taylor is here. Greg, how you doing? He says, I'm sure Green had more touches. Rodgers wouldn't give Jones the touches.
That's true.
Nor would McCarthy for a while. So
I would say,
dumb.
I just think the awesome job thing is this: both of those guys are awesome.
Yeah,
and they had to play with diva baby quarterbacks, but one of them, well, not diva babies. One was a diva, the other one was a diva baby. And Aaron Jones had to deal with a diva baby, so I'm giving him number one because he had to deal with the diva baby. I don't care, but you can do whatever you want. Let me know when you're ready to move on to wide receivers. Because the next one is a touchy subject that I'm a little pissed, and it's going to be, you think I'm mad now.
Well, I know who should probably be number one, and I hope he is number one.
I know. Well, we'll all say it together.
All right,
so ready? We'll say it before we move. Are you ready? You got the running backs?
We're good. We got the running backs on there.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Then we're going to say the guy's name after the 3. Ready?
All right.
1, 2, 3. Sterling
Sharp.
Okay, that was weird. We're way off, but we got it. We're right. That's who should be number one. By far, it should be Sterling Sharp. Let's see what this guy says. Zach Cruz. Oh, it's an ad. Sorry about that. Oh, wait, we're fullbacks. Crap, I forgot about this.
We might get fired up on this one, too.
This one, if we had a list, remember that overrated, underrated Packers thing that we did with earlier with Wavelength? William Henderson is the most overrated Packer in the history of Packers. And I think it's hilarious that they show him with his 30 jersey, which is the jersey he should have kept the entire career, that he stole from a much better player after he left the team. And then, luckily, after that, we had 2 more good guys who wore that number 33.
Yeah,
okay. This guy ruined 33 for a good couple years. And luckily, we got Micah Hyde, who came in and fixed the 33 mess and brought it back to height of Doug Evans and now Aaron Jones. But yes, William Henderson is the most overrated player in the history of Packers, period. Couldn't block with a dog shit. Here it says he was a bruising blocker, effective short yardage runner, and capable receiver. No.
He was a terrible runner, and he was not a good blocker.
He was a terrible blocker.
He was a big guy, and you thought he should be a good blocker, but he wasn't.
Right. And you could just look at the stats Edgar Bennett had, or look at Dorsey Levin's stats in 1996, his yards per carry when he was running out of the single back formation, and then compare that to his yards per carry the next year when he was running behind William Henderson, who missed blocks constantly, and Dorsey had to make guys miss or run over him to try to get some yards. It's pathetic. The answer for fullback is John Kuhn, 100%, because he was smart. He did actually have to become the number one running back on the team for a while when he was there, and he picked up some killer blitzes when they really needed him to, especially the one against the Bears where he took out Julius Peppers so that Rodgers get the ball to Cobby to score the touchdown to get to the playoffs. So John Kuhn is the answer here, not William Henderson, 100%. William Henderson doesn't even deserve to be in the Packer Hall of Fame, in my opinion, but
And John
I'm sure
Kuhn,
he's a nice guy, but the most overrated Packer in the history of overrated Packers.
I don't know about that, but was very overrated. And John Kuhn also was an effective short yardage runner. Like, he was good at picking up first down. Like, when all the time that they had John Kuhn on the team and it was a short yardage running play, I would have much rather seen them give him the ball instead of basically any of the other running backs they had, like Eddie Lacy and whoever else they were running with before Aaron Jones came along. I'd have much rather seen John Kuhn get the ball because he just he wasn't trying to make it a big play. John Kuhn understood if I need 2 yards to get the first down, I'm getting 2 or 3 yards here. I'm going to make sure I get it. I don't give a crap if something breaks open and I'm going to get 10, 15-yard run. I'm getting the first down because right now it's most important that I get the first down. And John Kuhn, that also goes to how smart you are. Like, understanding the situation and doing what needs to be done, not thinking about, I'm going to make a big play here.
Well, I've seen interviews with William Henderson. I think he's a smart guy. I do
too. But
I just think he got overrated.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think he's a nice guy. It's just
right.
People. It's kind of like it's kind of the Mercedes Lewis factor here. Where you watch the film and you're like, Mercedes Lewis is average blocker at this point in his career, but people keep saying like he's another tackle out there. Well, it's the same thing with William Henderson. He was an average blocker at fullback, yet people kept saying he was this bruising fullback because he didn't do anything else. So to talk about him, that's what they had to bring up. The weird thing is here too is they say Henderson was voted a Pro Bowler and first team All-Pro in 2004, but John Kuhn was a Pro Bowler 3 times. So, and I'm sure that 2004 season was the Amon Green big, huge, gigantic season, and Henderson just got votes because he was, I don't know, or maybe he scored a bunch of 1-yard touchdowns from Brett Favre that year. Who knows? He had like 6 1-yard touchdown receptions or something. I don't know. So, anyways, so we both agree, John Kuhn, right?
Yep.
All right, ready to move on to Sterling Sharp?
Yep.
Wide receivers, here we go. Probably an ad first. Wide receivers. Okay, well, here, this is.
What?
Yeah, right. And I want to start with this first. Let's start with, I'm going to read you what it says. What a group. Adams and Sharp combined for 10 Pro Bowls and 5 first-team All-Pros, despite the pair only playing 15 total seasons in Green Bay. Adams caught 73 touchdowns. Sharp had 65. So that's why he's putting them where they are. But then he says, both were individually dominant and game-breaking receivers who one day belong in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I have issue with dominant and game-breaking receivers. Yes, one of them was dominant and a game-breaking receiver. 100%. The other one was a glorified
possession
receiver who caught perfect passes, and he would get open, and he has great vision and great hand-eye coordination. I do not disagree with that at all. But as far as a dominant and what was the word I just said? Dominant and game-breaking? The guy only has 3 touchdowns of 40 yards or more in his career. Out of his 73 touchdowns, only 3 of them were 40 yards or more. I can remember Sterling Sharp catching touchdowns and running over dudes. And remember the one time where he thought he was in the end zone, but he wasn't because it was all snowy. And then he fumbled the ball and then picked it up and got in the end zone. Then there was a touchdown against the Detroit in the playoffs where Favre ran around like a dum-dum and then just chucked it up there and he caught it. That was a huge bomb. And then there's a bunch of other ones where he ran over dudes and ran through. He had a million touchdowns of way over 40 yards. And he was a game-breaking. They had to put 3 guys on Sterling Sharp to stop him. Devontae, you could put like one guy and maybe shade a safety, and you weren't worried about him taking it to the house. You kidding me? Dominant and game-breaking? Sterling Sharp is number 1. And Devontae isn't even number 2. Let's go over the list. What do you think about this? First of all, here's the list. Devontae Adams, Sterling Sharp, Jordy Nelson, Donald Driver, Antonio Freeman, and Greg Jennings.
What? Greg Jennings is way more dangerous than Antonio Freeman.
And not only that, Greg Jennings played with both Favre and Rodgers and was dominant with both Favre and Rodgers. He had over 1,000-yard seasons with both of those guys, unlike anybody else on this list. Even Donald Driver didn't ever have a 1,000-yard season with Aaron Rodgers.
What is hilarious? What isn't... There's something that also, just a side note, that is hilarious about this list is how we heard all of this time how Favre never had anybody to throw to and Rodgers didn't have good enough guys to throw to because no first round
All
picks.
these guys
and
were
all that.
Rodgers guys except for Sterling Sharp.
Hmm.
Oh, wait, Stonio.
Tonio, double D. Look,
Here's my
Antonio,
order.
Come on.
Well, you
Antonio
tell me what you
Freeman.
think, and I'll tell you what I think the order should be.
All right. Well, Sterling Sharp, I agree with you, is number one.
Yep.
I would say
So who do you think should be number 2? Let's talk it out.
I got to go with partly because of longevity. I got to go with Jordy Nelson as number 2.
I agree, because I think he was game changing. He did scare the crap out of people, and way more dynamic than Devontae Adams. Yet he could still catch those 3-yard, throw it 3 yards out of bounds and lean your body way over and still catch it and do the stuff that Devontae could do. He had all the body control of Devontae Adams, but he also had the game-breaking speed. That guy scared the crap out of people way more than Devontae Adams. So, yes, Jordy Nelson should be number 2. I agree. So, who's number 3?
Number 3?
It's not that hard.
I might
It's Greg
go with
Jennings.
Double D or Greg. Well, okay.
It's Greg Jennings. Double D is awesome.
Talent, Double D was awesome and played with him so long.
You know what? You're right. Double D should be number 3. Double D should be number 3 because he's the leader in receptions, and for the team, he was a player who you could always count on. I mean, how many first downs did that guy catch? How many times did he make a guy miss? Like Donald Driver skying like 5 yards in the air to catch a pass that was terribly thrown by Brett Favre. I mean, come on.
And Jonathan, and we remember some of these things. Jonathan says in the comments, Driver game after game, they hit him and he got up.
Yeah, and he was only 188 pounds.
Yeah, I mean, he took some shots. I thought he was going to die. Like that was back in the day when you could take out guys up in the air, and Favre would throw it too high, and he'd go up and get it because he could jump, and guys would just rock him crazy when he came down. Where you thought Brett Favre was going to I thought Brett Favre was going to kill Donald Driver here.
Yeah, because
there were times
the defense. He just chucked it at the green jersey, and then there's 3 guys there to smack the crap out of him, and
I really thought Donald Driver was going to end up with a serious injury a number of occasions, and it's amazing that he never did, and thank goodness he never did. But just I'm making him there because he was productive and on the team for so long and a great Packer. I'm putting him up there because of that. I'm not just going on because if you said, was Greg Jennings more dangerous and more talented? Yes.
He was. Yeah.
100%. But he didn't play with the Packers as long. And Double D, did a lot of the dirty work. So I'd put him at number 3. So I'm going Sterling Sharp, Jordy Nelson, Donald Driver here.
Okay. Then I'm going to say Greg Jennings is 4 then. No matter what you say, I'm putting Greg Jennings
above Devontae Adams? What?
Yes. Wow. Yes. Greg Jennings has the speed of the speed of Jordy Nelson and the agility of Donald Driver combined into one package. It's just they gave up on him, and he also got hurt that year, and that kind of slowed him down. But he had the ability to he had the hands too. I mean, he didn't have Sterling Sharp hands, but he was probably the second best hands guy on this team when it comes to catching the ball. Greg Jennings, I don't remember him dropping too many damn balls. Once in a blue moon, but
and his performance in the 2009 wild card game against Arizona was insanity. Like he was so ridiculously good in that game. I mean, he had plenty of games where he was really good, but he had, like you said, he had speed. He wasn't that big. He was only 5'11", right? But speed, could get open, could change direction, run after the catch, great hands. I mean, Greg Jennings was, if you ask me most dangerous talent level guys, I'd put him at number 2.
Right.
But because of production and because of longevity in the team and some of the other stuff, Jordy Nelson wins out, Double D wins out, and then I'm okay with that. Devontae Adams was pumped up. Devontae Adams was pumped up because
he still has skills.
He does 100%.
That are high. Like he's kind of one of those guys. Or there's some guys who are really good at everything, but masters of none. Or you know what I mean? He's the guy who was a master of one, and then below average at everything else. But he was a master at getting open. Sometimes it took him a while. And then the ability to contort your body and locate the ball in the air and make the catch, no matter where he was on the field, no matter who was on him. no matter what position he was. And those are things that are definitely valuable. I'm
Yeah.
not saying they're not, and he is definitely a top, 5 receiver and during this time. So I'll put him at number 5. But I would rather have Sterling Sharp, Jordy Nelson, Donald Driver, and Greg Jennings over Davante Adams in their primes at any time, because those other 4 guys have the ability to take it to the house one way or another. Double D will make you guys miss a couple times. Sterling Sharp will run over you. Jordy Nelson will just run past you. And then Greg Jennings will do both, juke you out of your shorts and run past you. And Davante, you can't do any of those. He can't run past you. He can't juke you out of your shorts once he has the ball.
That's true.
His yards after catch, not great.
Double D, just remember, Double D had enough speed to run away from guys,
Yeah.
number 1. And number 2, I'm just going to throw this out there for Double D. Just remember that insane catch and break tackle
49ers.
and run against the 49ers that he
Yeah.
had. You
That was
never
awesome.
saw any sort of play like that on Davante Adams in your life. Davante Adams he hadn't even made that play in Pee Wee League. And Donald Driver did that in the NFL. That was insane.
When he completely stopped and then 2 guys jumped over his back, and then he kept going, and then he jumped back. He had the ability to jump back for like a second and make another guy miss, and then just kind of high step it into the end zone. It's one of the greatest plays of all time.
Yeah.
It was all him.
I know.
He beat 5 guys on that play all by himself. And that just shows the difference between a guy who can do something with it after he has it in his hands and Davante Adams, who the majority of his work was done prior to him getting the ball. And then once he got the ball, nothing was really done after that. You know what I mean? His touchdowns were all caught in the end zone for the most part. It wasn't like he took it and then took it to the house, unless he was completely wide open because somebody was a drop in coverage or something.
Yeah, or fell down. Jordy Nelson, David says Jordy Nelson was always the dagger. He also says Adams was a possession receiver. Correct. And then Lee says, I have Sharp, Jordy, Adams, Double D, and Jennings. That's his 5.
Okay, well, I respect it, but we're not doing it.
I can too.
But here comes the real problem. Number 6 is a very tough one to me.
Okay.
Because I'm telling you, Robert Brooks was something else, and injuries shortened him. Antonio Freeman had a great run, but he couldn't catch the damn ball with his hands, for God's sake. That's a problem. You also have Randall Cobb in there.
Yeah, that's true.
James Jones in there.
I showed you James Jones' stats last week.
Exactly. I mean, you're talking, there's 4 guys who were all very, very, very good Pro Bowl. Every one of them made a Pro Bowl at one point in their careers. I mean, when the Packers were going to the Super Bowl, the year that they were supposed to win the Super Bowl, it was the Chiefs and the Packers on the cover of Sports Illustrated. And the 3 Packers that they chose to put on the cover of Sports Illustrated was Brett Favre, Reggie White, and Robert Brooks. That was how big Robert Brooks was on that team, because that was before Leroy Butler was probably the 3rd most popular or, consensus best player on the team. Now, of course, Leroy's a Hall of Famer, but at that point, he only had like 1 or 2 good years. And it's easier for a wide receiver to look, get a bunch of stats because, Favre's throwing the ball 25,000 times or whatever. But there was a time when Robert Brooks was a number 1 receiver on the Packers. But there's also a time when Antonio Freeman was a number 1 receiver on the Packers. So I think it comes down between those 2 guys. And I think as much as we make fun of him, Antonio probably deserves number 6 just because of how many game-changing plays he had.
He made plays.
He did. In the Super Bowl, in playoff games, the play against the Vikings, we talked about it last week. We made fun of Mo. All those things put him at number 6. I agree. So I think they got the right 6 guys here. They just got the wrong order. But shout out to Robert Brooks, shout out to James Jones, and shout out to Randall Cobb. 3 excellent receivers. And the fact that we've had all those receivers on a team that repeatedly people say, oh, Brett Favre did it by himself. Aaron Rodgers did it by himself. No, they didn't, folks. They didn't. All these guys were very, very good receivers. A lot of them 2nd-round picks and 3rd-round picks. And that's the reason why. The Packers didn't wait until after the 3rd round to get any of these guys, except for Donald Driver. He's the one guy who busted his ass from the bottom of the shoe and then climbed back up and freaking was awesome. And that's why we all love him so much. But I say there's a great group of receivers that Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers had to throw the ball to, which also helped them become Hall of Famers in their own right. So shout out to all those awesome receivers. There you go.
All right. I got them all in there.
Got them all in there? Okay.
They're up on the list here. They're on the ticker.
Here we go. We're moving on. Tight ends.
Sorry, Zach Cruz, you're off a little bit there, but we got you covered. How you don't put Sterling Sharp as number one is just dumb. That's just stupid.
He must
Sorry,
be a
man.
youngster. He probably never watched Sterling Sharp.
Yeah,
He
probably
just
didn't.
probably looked at the stats. Oh, Sterling Sharp had 65 touchdowns. Devontae had 73, so he must be better. Wrong.
Go
Watch
back
the film.
and look
Watch
at how
the
that guy
film.
played. The guy was insane. Whatever. His brother said it in his Hall of Fame speech. Like, come on. I mean,
Not many players can say that they're the second best. They're a Hall of Famer and they're the second best player in their family. Yeah, that's the truth. All right. Speaking of his brother, let's talk about the tight ends. Here we've got Zach Cruz has Jermichael Finley, Bubba Franks, and Mark Chimera. Now, we just did that touchdown rankings show about 2 months ago, and I can't even remember what the heck order these guys were in on that show.
Tight ends, they were not very impressive.
No. But it's interesting to see Zach Cruz values the game-changing receiver type tight end over the blocking receivers, which is interesting to me.
The tight ends, you mean?
Tight ends. Well, yeah. Well, blocking tight ends. So I don't know what you think about this. Why don't you go ahead and take over and tell me what you think the order? You played tight end in high school, so you tell me what you think is the best order for these tight ends based on what your stats are. And I think these are the three guys. Obviously, I don't think there's anybody else who even comes close to these three. I mean, Fatty Keith had a great 1 year, but
only 1 year.
You can't put him on here for 1 year.
No, and then the Packers really had like a revolving kind of door at tight end for a long time, where they had these,
Donald
these
Lee.
these like
Rodgers.
free agent guys. I mean, Richie Rodgers was a 3rd round pick, which was, his talent didn't match that 3rd round pick, but whatever. But they had for a long time. I mean, Spencer Havener, who remembers him playing in the game, and
Tom
Crabtree. Yeah, Tom Crabtree, and some of these dudes. It's like they weren't that good. Now Ed West was a solid tight end, but he was before Favre and Rodgers, the D-bag era.
Yeah,
so
he never played with Brett Favre.
Yeah, so that's probably it. And I mean, Jermichael Finley they didn't ask him to block a lot, so I guess you can't really pin him. You can't really say, well, let's hold him down for that or put him down for that. He was a talented athlete, and he was dynamic, and he could do some stuff with the ball, and he was pretty good run after the catch, and he dropped it at times, but yeah, I would say he's got to be number one. Bubba Franks was more all around, but he was not very dynamic, and it actually really wasn't that good in the passing game for the most part. But they also, he ran a lot of short routes.
He had 32 touchdowns, which is a crap ton.
Yeah, he had a lot of short touchdowns and stuff like that. And I guess, I think he's probably right here. It's probably a pretty easy list to make. Kind of like my Top Jones's list last week. Pretty easy to make. Pretty easy to have them fall in line and pick the right ones.
Well, I disagree. I think Mark Chimera is number one. And
wow,
I'm not going on stats. If you go by stats, then you got, Finley, Bubba Franks, Mark Chimera. Because Bubba Franks had 32 touchdowns, Mark Chimera had 17, so he's twice as good, right? No.
Oh, man.
He's not twice as good. Watch the film. Mark Chimera played with Fatty Keith. Fatty Keith stole the crap all of his touchdowns for 2 years.
Yeah, that's true.
Come on. And Chimera only played 6 seasons, which hurts him, where Bubba Franks played 8. And Finley played 5 or 6. Finley played 6 seasons, same as Mark Chimera. Chimera was the best tight end combination of blocker, receiver, route runner, do things like that out of these 3 guys. But I would put Finley number 1. I would put Chimera number 2. And I put Bubba Franks number 3. That's what I would do. But you are a former tight end, so you put down what you said. And I probably didn't just say this because I never ever want to be a consensus. I don't ever want to agree with somebody else's list. So that's why I'll probably never have any of these be exactly what this guy said, even though probably that's the right answer. So you put them down. You tell me when you're ready to move on. And just interrupt me because I'm just going to say some other crap while we're talking. I can't think of any other guys. Like you said, we brought up the Donald Lee type guys and the Richie Rodgers type guys and stuff like that. But yeah, these are the 3 guys. There's no doubt. No doubt.
All right, it's updated.
All right.
We have Finley is number 1, Chewy is number 2, and Bubba is
You put Chewy number 2. You went with me instead?
Well, I think Chimera was a better all-around. tight end. Even though maybe he didn't get all the opportunities, like you said, because Jackson was there and took opportunities from him for a few years. And, plus he was a hit with the teenage girls. So, I mean,
Dude,
yeah,
what do you got to go there with that?
well, I mean, he did it. He shouldn't have done it. Plus, he came back and he's an analyst or he does some radio.
Hey, one of my favorite
stuff.
bands of all time is Winger. They have a song called "She's 17," right? 17.
It's terrible, and
Mark
he was
Demura
28.
maybe he loved that song too. I don't condone it.
It's
but
not.
I got a 17-year-old daughter. We just talked about it earlier. I don't want her
think
going
about
around
that
hanging around
now.
Mark
How
Demura.
much you like Mark Chimura?
I don't like him.
Think about...
Take him off the list. Take him off the list. Take him off. Okay, we're moving on to the offensive lineman. Here we go. First, we got to add. Okay, offensive lineman. Josh Sitton, center, right in the front and center. David Bakhtiari, Corey Lindley, Brian Bulaga. You know all
Oh
those guys
my
are great.
God! Look how
Let's take a look
talented
at
they
the 10 offensive linemen, and they're actually pretty spot on for the most part. But I think we're going to add a guy because Jason will have to add him. We got David Bakhtiari, Chad Clifton. Josh Sitton. As much as we make fun of him, come on, he wasn't that bad.
I mean, he can be on the list.
Yeah, well, they haven't.
This is top 10 though. I don't know about that. I got issue with that. Keep going.
And they got Marco.
Marco was kind of overrated.
A different
but whatever.
62. He was overrated. Corey Lindsley.
Then
your second team is Brian Bulaga and Mark Tauscher.
Mark Tauscher is way
they
too
both
low.
played right tackle, so I don't understand how. So Chad Clifton should be second team behind Bakhtiari, and Mark Tauscher should be first team ahead of Brian Bulaga.
Yeah, but he's just looking at tackle, and you could flip him.
I don't care. Mark Tauscher is a starter on my all Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers Packer team. He is 100% a starter, and David Bakhtiari is a starter.
Even though Chad Clifton was a high second-round pick, Mark Tauscher was a seventh-round pick. Mark Tauscher was better, much better, and much better than Chad Clifton.
Yeah,
he was a much better Packer. He was more durable. He was just as good and effective of a lineman, but he was also way more reliable and way more durable. Mark Tauscher 100% needs to be higher on this list.
Okay, so next we got Elton Jenkins, which we'll see. Mike Wall,
Wall.
Sorry, and then Frankie Bag of Donuts.
Frankie Bag of Donuts.
And then for some reason TJ Lang just missed. I say TJ Lang makes it.
Yeah,
Mike Wall comes off for sure. And then Mike Flanagan, I think Frankie Bag of Donuts would probably make it over him. And I also, because he won a Super Bowl, and I think Corey Lindsley was pretty damn good. But shout out to Scotty Wells, was
the man.
Who was the man who won a Super Bowl?
Seventh round draft pick as well, but he was the man.
Do you think we should put Scotty Wells over Frankie Bag of Donuts? I do. So. I think Frankie played 10 years though.
No, yeah, but Frankie was. I mean, was Frank Winters really that good? I don't know that he was. I don't know. He was fine. I would say.
We say TJ Lang instead of Mike Wall.
100%.
I say
Mark
we switch the 62s. We take Marco Rivera off and we put Lukey Patrick in.
Well, he did get to play quite a long time. I mean, he was on the team for quite a few years. He just didn't get as much
for as long as Marco Rivera. Well,
he just didn't get to start as often. So
but when he played, he was great.
I know, but I don't think you can put him in there because he didn't.
You don't think you put Lukey Patrick in there?
No, because you have to look at
favorite.
I know, but he didn't get the opportunity to play. Like this has to also go with guys that got the opportunity to play and got snaps and impact the game and impact the team.
Okay.
Now, was Lucas better than some bunch of these guys? Yeah, he was
then
better.
He should be on the list. Jason, I don't care. It'd be the same as saying as we went over the stats. Just because somebody's got 73 touchdowns, the other guy has 12 or has 37. But the other guy's way more dynamic and better.
I know that.
Greg Jennings is better than Devontae Adams. We agree. So why can't we say that Lukey Patrick's better than Marco Rivera?
Because
he's definitely better than Mike Wall.
Well, yeah, but he did not get the chances to. Although I will say this for him, from his first as a undrafted rookie stepping in Dallas, his first time to play, where he stepped in and filled in at center, and that's when I first liked him right away. He always did that. He was always available and always stepped in and covered the Packers' asses whenever they needed him. So there's value in that. But let me get through this here. Corey Lindsley was not that good. I'm sorry, everybody. I know everyone thinks Corey Lindsley was so great. I'm just here to tell you he was not that good. He really wasn't. I like him and I think he's a great guy, but he was not that good. He was undersized. He wasn't physical enough. And at the same time, there's plenty of plays he just did absolutely nothing. Like he's not that good. And the Packers should not have
Josh Myers.
And the Packers should not have signed him back. And the Packers should not have paid him a bunch of money. And he should not be pumped up on the Chargers like he is. Like, he's just not that good. And I like him as a person. Okay, I'm saying that. But Lindsey, not that good. Let's see who else was on here. Oh yeah, I'm gonna say that I think Scott Wells should be on here.
I think so.
I think Lindsey should be off. I'm just gonna say that.
So you're gonna put Frankie Winters as your starting center and Scotty Wells as your second, or are you gonna put Scotty Wells as your starting?
I'm gonna put Scotty Wells as my number one.
Okay, let's do this. Let's
because when they let Scott Wells go,
it was bad.
They had a revolving door at center for like 3 or 4 seasons before they finally plugged Lindsey in there. Like, it was Evan Dietrich Smith and J.C. Treader was a good player. I like him, but then, they couldn't hang on to him and he got hurt and some other stuff. A guy who's missing on here, who I can't remember how many seasons he played with the Packers, but we're also looking at his career. Adam Timmerman should be on the top 10.
Oh my God, yes, Adam Timmerman should be on here. Holy crap.
Adam Timmerman needs to be one of the guards.
How is he not on here?
I don't know. Because this guy's a dumbass. It doesn't know Packer history like we do. And like most Packer fans should know. Sorry.
Okay, let's do the starting offensive line. We'll do the starting 5, and then we'll figure out the other 5. So starting left tackle, David Bakhtiari, right?
Yep.
Okay, starting left guard is who?
I'm going to go Adam Timmerman.
Did Adam Timmerman play left guard or did he play right guard?
He might have been right guard. I'm going to go TJ Lang.
I agree. TJ Lang, who's not
he
even
played
on this
both.
top 10. Yeah,
TJ Lang.
TJ
I
Lang.
have TJ Lang.
Starting center, Scotty Wells. You got to write this down.
All right.
You write it down on the order here?
I'm going to put it in there here. I'll try not to make too much noise here. Okay.
So David Bakhtiari, number 1, or tackle, starting left tackle. Starting left guard was TJ Lang, who the thing about TJ Lang was he wasn't dirty, but he was one of those guys who blocks till the whistle.
He's tough.
The echo of the whistle kind of guy. He was a tough-nosed, hard-nosed, smack you around type guy. He's the kind of guy I like at offensive line. So, and I'm pretty sure TJ Lang played right guard though too, because I think Sitton played left guard. So
I don't care. Sitton can't be there. TJ Lang played both guards. He's good enough. He's fine.
Okay, fine. Starting center, Scotty Wells. The other starting guard, Adam Timmerman. Starting right tackle, Mark Tauscher. We got that figured out.
Absolutely, Mark Tauscher, 100%.
Okay, that's a freaking Hall of Fame offensive line right there. That's a great offensive line. Okay, so now let's go second team. Tackle, let's pick 2 guys for tackle. Chad Clifton is 1. I agree. So who's the other one? Is it Brian Bulaga? I think
Brian Bulaga? Ugh. Come on. Wasn't there anybody else?
Not really.
During that time.
That was longevity and a bit, you know what I mean? As sad as it is, it's
but he was so average for so long. Like, how was he?
You know what? Let's do Wilkerson.
No, he didn't play. He didn't play long. God damn it! I missed all my. Dang it! I put all that stuff in, and now it all went away because I didn't save it.
No,
I got to redo
can't remember.
I can remember. I've just got to get it typed in again. Hang on.
It all went away. Like even the
because I didn't save it. I'm sorry. No, just the stuff I didn't search.
Just offensive lineman. Okay.
Hang on. I got it.
What are comments in the comments section saying?
I can't keep up with it right now. I'm trying to do this.
On my phone.
Shit. Sorry, guys.
We'll log in on my phone. Tell me. We need a second team. We're going with our starting 5. We'll let the chat figure out the next 5. Tell us in the chat. I'm gonna look it up right now.
TJ, and you can't take our starters away. We got Bakhtiari. We got TJ Lang.
Right, we're not taking those guys.
Scotty Wells.
Aaron Taylor. Ooh, Rick says Aaron Taylor.
Aaron Taylor was pretty good.
Ken Rutgers he did play a little bit with Brett Favre.
He played a little with Favre.
We can get out of the Brian Bulaga by putting Ken Rutgers in there.
I would take Ken Rutgers over Brian Bulaga 100%. Who the hell was our right guard here?
So we got Aaron
Timmerman,
Taylor.
That's right.
Adam Timmerman.
And Tausch, there's no debating. Tausch was like so good. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, Tausch was the man. The saddest thing about Mark Tauscher is he started the year after the Packers won a Super Bowl, or 2 years.
No,
after,
he started the year. No, he started his last season with the Packers, where he
was but his last year was the year before they went. Yeah, That's what I'm saying. He missed out
Oh
on the
yeah,
Super Bowl.
right.
He played a whole bunch of years in between the 2 Super Bowls.
Yep.
Or the 3 Super Bowls, because he didn't play. He wasn't there when they went to the second one and lost, but he was there the next year, and then he went all the way until 2009, and then so he never got a Super Bowl, even though he was
An
one of the best players in
yeah.
history on the offensive line. So
yeah, that was just it sucked because Tauscher was, and if you recall about Mark Tauscher, so his last season with the Packers, 2009, he was actually not. They didn't have him come back.
Right.
They didn't sign him
That's
back.
right. Yep.
He was out of football, and then because they thought they moved on from him, even though they shouldn't have. They should have offered him a decent contract and have him come back, but they didn't. And then they had injuries at tackle, and they had to scoop him up off of the street, and he came back and played for him, and freaking played great, and started and solidified their garbage line. Freaking Mark Tauscher, who saved their ass in 2009.
He was awesome.
God, he's so good.
He's got a really high voice, but
Really high voice.
Other than that, he's awesome. Mark Tauscher here. I can't do a Mark Tauscher.
Why does my Jair Alexander impression sound so much like Adam Sandler?
Because he kind of is like Adam. He's like the black Adam Sandler.
But I was also, it might have also been like the Julian influence from he obviously has to wear the sunglasses when he talks. I don't know.
Also known as Frankenstein. All right, we figured out the second offensive line.
30 packets of ketchup.
There. It's Aaron Taylor and Corey Linsley, and we're not. I mean, maybe Aaron Taylor, but
30 packets of ketchup.
I think Lukey Patrick deserves it, dude. He's your all-time favorite guy. Put him on the damn list.
He is, but he's going to be on my list no matter what.
Okay, well then we won't put him on. So who's our tackles? Our second team tackles. We got Chad
David
Clifton.
says Josh Myers or Corey Linsley. Corey Linsley, David, 100%.
Yeah, Corey Linsley way better.
Oh,
Josh
Rick
Myers.
said not Aaron Taylor. Okay. Lee said, could you imagine
not
that line? Jeez. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm going to say, all right, let's finish it off then, because I know offensive linemen better than any
You pick
analyst
him.
that's
I
ever.
can't figure it out.
Any analyst that's ever lived. I know better than anybody who's ever played. I'm just kidding.
Earl
all right.
Dotson, can he play?
He was pretty good, and I think Rick liked him. I think Rick learned a lot from him that one year.
Bruce Wilkerson came in and saved our ass.
He did,
he was
but
the starter when they won the Super Bowl.
But he didn't play them. I'm gonna say Rutgers. If he qualifies, he's in there.
Okay.
Then I'm gonna say left guard. I don't know if Elton Jenkins is good enough.
I don't think he's on this list. I'd take Lucas Patrick over Elton Jenkins. I showed you plays where he just fell on his face and missed guys completely when they're right in front of him. He couldn't even get a hand on him.
But that happens to everybody.
Terrible. Okay, it happens every time. When you're a Pro Bowl top freaking paid guy at your position in the NFL, you don't let a guy who's 1 inch in front of you.
Oh yeah, we got to give it to City. We'll give it to garbage Sitton. He wasn't that good, but he was better than.
He was better than freaking. I think he's better than Elton Jenkins.
Center, we're gonna go with
Patrick.
We're gonna have to go with Lucas Patrick because he was the best at center. So
you can't leave Frank Winters off. Put Lucas at right guard / center.
Just because he can play anywhere on the interior doesn't mean you should put him anywhere. But I'd have him as my center. Actually, I might have him start over Scotty Wells too at center. But anyway, never mind.
You got to put Frankie Winters on there.
Bag of donuts.
Let's put Frankie Winters, Lucas Patrick, and then we're good.
All right.
And we got our 10 guys. Lukey Patrick makes it as number 10.
Donuts. And then right guard, Lucas, that's his second best spot. And then who's our other tackle?
Ken Rutgers.
Oh no, I already said him. Who's our other tackle?
Chad Clifton.
Oh yeah, all right. We'll let Cliffy have him in there. That's fine.
I mean, he's no Mark Tauscher, but what are you gonna do?
No, he's not. He was
only
not.
drafted the same year, and
second round.
Yeah, 5 rounds ahead of him, 6 rounds ahead of him, but
Yeah. All right, there it is. D-bag era, best 53-man roster. The offensive line.
I can't see it, so go over our picks again one more time. Tell everybody what they were, all 10.
All right, we got quarterbacks, Aaron Rodgers.
No, not that. We're just
not that one.
Just the offensive line. We still got the whole defense to do, and it's already 10:30. You gotta pick this up. Just do the offensive line.
All right, so offensive lineman, we got. We're coming up on here. We got left tackle David Bakhtiari. We got left guard TJ Lang. We got center Scotty Wells. Right guard Adam Timmerman. Don't forget Timmerman. Right tackle Mark Tauscher. The second string is Ken Rutgers at tackle, Josh Sitton at guard, Frankie Bag of Donuts at center, LP Lucas Patrick at right guard, and Cliffy at right tackle. That's what we got.
All right, that works. That works for me. All right, we're moving on to the next section, which is, of course, D lineman number 1, according to Zach Cruz.
What?
This guy's name is Kenny Clark. Are
What
you
in the
freaking kidding me? Kenny Clark over Gilbert Brown, B.J. Raji, Santana Dotson, Mike Daniels, and Cullen Jenkins, who didn't even make the list. This is a joke of all jokes. A joke of all jokes. You know what, Jason? I also not only do I think Kenny Clark shouldn't be number 1. I don't think he makes this 5-man defensive line.
No.
Because I think every one of those other guys, including Cullen Jenkins, who was awesome, are all better than Kenny Clark. So what do you think about
that? Hold on. David had a quick comment here saying I'd have to go back to the 60s to give an opinion on the best offensive line.
Well,
on the
we're not going that far.
Ran the Packer sweep and dominated. We're just doing the D-bag, the douchebag era of Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. I just call it the D-bag era. Some people call it the...
showing up now, we got to let them know that this is just players that played between the day when Don Mikowski got hurt and Brett Favre stepped in until the end of the 2022 season. So this is the best team of players we can come up with of players that played during that amount of time.
Let me just
the 60s. Yeah, you take that whole damn team. Yeah, you know, boom, you throw all those guys over any one of these, pretty much, except for maybe Bakhtiari, who's Hall of Famer probably, but whatever.
First off, I don't know what the hell this guy's looking at. Kenny Clark and Gilbert Brown, as your first two. What the hell are you talking about?
This does not conclude as edge rushers, which is interesting to me because you got to remember the pack. Because Reggie, of course, is considered an edge rusher on here. So I just want to make that clear.
Weird.
The Packers played a 4-3 with 4 down defensive linemen and 3 linebackers with the Brett Favre for the majority of the Brett Favre era. And they switched to the 3-4 right before we got to the Aaron Rodgers era, right? So that's why this is a little weird. So some defensive ends, like Cullen Jenkins, are on here, and this part is defensive line because they played in a 3-4 with the Packers. Though Reggie White could have easily played, is considered really a defensive lineman who played outside pass rusher at defensive end in a 4-3. So that's why it's really weird. Like Reggie White should be number 1 here, I think.
This is a long show, but a great show. Okay, here we go. I'm going to say this.
I
would agree.
I think Reggie White, we should take him off outside edge rusher and put him at D-line. And put Reggie White number 1 defensive lineman.
We're just going to call him D lineman, and we're going to do DL1, DL2. And I would say, Reggie
Give me 1 second. I'm just going to see how many he put at edge rusher 4. Okay, I think we can get Reggie. I think we can still come up with 4 edge rushers that aren't Reggie.
I think so too. Okay, and then we got
5 defensive linemen, and we moved Reggie from edge rusher to D line because he was more of a D lineman. Like he could play the run. He was the dominant number 1. He's defensive line because if he played today, he would be a 3-4 defensive end.
Now,
right?
You're right. Now, B.J. Raji was a damn good player, highly underrated. He's way better than Kenny Clark ever dreams to be, and much better than Gilbert Brown. So, B.J. Raji is probably next.
Okay, I agree.
How do you feel about that? Okay.
I'm okay with that. So Reggie White number 1, B.J. Raji number 2. I agree.
All right. And then
number
Kenny
3
Clark or Gilbert? No.
I go with
Mike Daniels.
Yes, I agree. And here's the thing that's really weird. If they look at the stats down here and they talk about Mike Daniels, let's take a look at Mike Daniels. Mike Daniels had 29 sacks and 47 tackles for loss over 7 seasons with the Packers. Undersized. He also made a Pro Bowl in 2017 when he had 5 sacks, 10 tackles for a loss, and 14 quarterback hits. So Mike Daniels had 29 sacks and 47 tackles in his seasons with the Packers. Kenny Clark in his seasons with the Packers. Kenny Clark has only 26.5 sacks. So Mike Daniels had more sacks and way more tackles for loss. Yeah, Kenny Clark's number 1 and Mike Daniels is way down like at number 5. No.
Mike Daniels is way more impactful than Kenny Clark. Yeah.
Mike Daniels had the twitchiness of Aaron Donald. He's not Aaron Donald, but he had the twitchiness of Aaron Donald, and he had the ability to hold up against double team blocks so that other guys could come and make plays. And that was the difference between Mike Daniels and Kenny Clark.
And Mike Daniels was just a football player.
Yeah. Way better. Way better. I don't know. I like BJ Raji. I almost think Mike Daniels should be higher ahead of BJ Raji. That's just me. I don't know.
I mean,
I think he played longer.
I like
BJ Raji got hurt quite a bit.
Well, you know what? Maybe.
I mean, BJ Raji had a big awesome interception in the playoffs, which saved we got us to the Super Bowl. Yes, but when it comes to actually a player on the team who was awesome, I didn't.
I have to say I didn't value or probably pay close enough attention to BJ Raji enough while he was playing, but when he was gone and then basically what was it, Kenny Clark came in, is that kind of around the same time? Yeah, 15 to 16. The difference between those two, drastic to me.
Okay,
so
that's fine.
So I don't know. And Mike D was freaking awesome. We'll stick with
Mike D at 3. So who's 4? I think it should be Colin Jenkins. I think Colin Jenkins never got the respect he deserved. And then he went on to he got paid to go to the Giants, and he played amazing with the Giants and won Super Bowl with them. And not the Giants, he went to the Eagles. That's where he went.
Yep.
But he played great with the Eagles. He didn't win the Super Bowl, but he played great with the Eagles. He won the Super Bowl with us, but he was great. Colin Jenkins, I think, should be number 4. And then this is really tough with the 5th because Santana, and you got to choose between Santana and Gilbert. Because I think Kenny Clark doesn't make it.
I'm taking Santana on that one all day.
I think so too. Santana. I mean, Gilbert is great. He was great.
He just didn't do a lot.
Santana was really he dominated. And let's ask Rick. Rick in the comments, tell us, is it Santana or Gilbert? Well, Rick's got his list: Reggie, Daniels, Santana, Gilbert, and Colin Jenkins. So he doesn't agree with the BJ Raji, but we're overriding you there with that, Rick. But Rick's got Santana ahead of Gilbert, so that means Santana makes the list on our top 5. Gilbert just falls off, but he gets honorable mention, and of course the Gilbert Burger at Burger King, always a great big. You don't want to feel like you're going to barf after you eat something. Go get a Gilbert Burger from Burger King.
Yep. David says so. They're here. David says, "Damn, we had some great defensive players in the '90s." The 90s teams feared our defense. Well, they did. And I'm not saying Gilbert wasn't good, but Gilbert just didn't have the lateral movement or he couldn't make many plays. However, he was good at holding it down. I don't know, Mike D could be number 2. He was that good, but he also didn't get to play right away. I'm just saying that. Like, that's my test for BJ Raji. 2 things. 1, the noticeable difference between when he left and Kenny Clark stepped into that role. And then number 2, do the Packers make it to the Super Bowl without BJ Raji, Ben, in that NFC Championship game?
No. But do the Packers win the Super Bowl without Ryan Pickett?
Probably still.
Maybe Ryan Pickett deserves it over Santana Dotson.
He didn't play long enough.
Okay.
He didn't play long enough. Santana was the Super Bowl winner. We're good there. Okay.
So was Ryan Pickett. Spill it, Pickett. Spill it, Pickett.
I cannot believe that clown, whoever made this list, did not think of Adam Timmerman. Adam Timmerman was a great guard.
I can't believe you didn't think of Ryan Pickett.
Excellent guard.
You put Colin Jenkins on there, but he didn't put Ryan Pickett on there?
Wow.
I don't know.
Colin Jenkins was a monster.
You got the list on there.
Really so we're good. We're good.
Okay, we're moving on. Moving on to edge rusher. Remember, Reggie White, we considered as a defensive. So he's pictured here as the best edge rusher. He's a defensive lineman. He's a defensive lineman, not an edge rusher. So that puts Clay Matthews our number 1, and I agree. Clay Matthews should be number 1 edge rusher. You got Kabir Baja-Biamila, he was okay. Aaron Campman, who dominated. And then they got guys like Rashawn Gary, Julius Peppers, Zadarius Smith. I mean, no, he's not making it. And you think about edge rushers on the Packers, and who else are we thinking of? Yikes. That's kind of a sad list of guys there. We had a lot of revolving door type guys.
Short-term guys.
Yeah,
right.
Because we had Frank Zombo, and we had, I don't know, like Santana, or not Santana, Sean Jones, who I think of him more as an edge rusher than a defensive lineman because he couldn't hold up against a run like Reggie could. So I would put Sean Jones in this list. So maybe Sean Jones makes number 4 edge rusher. And you just keep everybody on there and just slide them up one. But I would actually maybe move Cameron ahead of Kabir, Baja, Biamila. But Aaron Campman was not as fast. I mean, Kabir had the speed.
Yeah, but Campman was a better player overall, I think.
And I think Julius Pepper's 3 seasons isn't enough, right?
No, and he was really only impactful like probably the first 2 seasons. The last season he really didn't do much.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna
Sean Gary, how could he? I mean, he played one season.
He's another guy that's being so
ridiculous
overblown.
He's even named here. Like I think Frank Zombo has got more dime.
I mean, right now the
Eric
way
Walden
that you see people talk about because
Brad Jones had more of an impact. I mean, maybe not impact, but I mean just
no,
stats.
but I mean. Right now, what they're doing with Rashawn Gary is basically like all those other guys you just named. If they would be talking about them like they're one of the best players in the league. If they'd be talking about Eric Walden after the 2010 season, like he's one of the best players in the league.
I know.
That's what they're doing with Rashawn.
The difference, like Eric Walden was a free agent signing, and
yes,
Rashawn Gary was a number 12 pick overall, and that's why they talk about him like that.
But they are just blowing the hell out of Rashawn Gary, Jair. Like I'm just. Settle down, everybody. Okay, they're good players. They're not all-world best thing in the league. I'm sorry, they're just not. So
maybe that's why they moved Reggie to edge rusher because they knew they didn't have that much to work with.
Yeah, probably.
And when they put this list on USA Today, whatever, and so I guess. But I mean, I still think Reggie should be defensive lineman. But maybe we should move him back over here. I don't know.
No, I don't think so.
Somebody else at D line. But I just think Reggie. If he played today, Reggie would be a 3-4 defensive end.
Yeah, so he was like 300 pounds.
Yeah, he's not he wouldn't fit in today's edge rusher list.
No.
So do we do that? Clay Matthews, Kabir, Aaron Campman, and then crap. Who did I just say? Oh my God! I just said it. What was I thinking? Shoot, my brain just. Oh,
Sean Jones. You want to do him?
Sean Jones at 4. He had 3 seasons. He won a Super Bowl. It just shows you that how dominant Clay Matthews and Reggie White were for this team. How important they were on those 2 Super Bowl winning teams. When we had dominant pass rushers, we won a Super Bowl.
That's what Goody's thinking. That's why he drafted Lucas Van Ness.
Yes, so we would hope Lucas Van Ness and with him and what's his face together, maybe they could make something happen here.
So Clay Matthews number 1, Aaron Campman number 2, Kabir number 3, and Honolulu Jones number 4.
Which is a sad list for number 4, but the other guys, I can get on board with those guys.
Yeah, what do you want to do?
So you already got that on.
Played a long time. Yeah,
we can move on. That's a pretty self-explanatory one here.
Yep.
The next one is kind of a sad list too. Here we go. Inside linebacker. You got the 2 guys. He's got at number 1 and number 2, Nick Barnett and AJ Hawk, and then he's got Devondre Campbell.
What?
Followed by Wayne Simmons, who was outside linebacker.
Why in the hell is AJ Hawk on this list? What is happening here?
Why is Devondre Campbell on this list? This just shows you, we got to start educating some people. Now he's also got his mentions George Kuntz, who yes, I think George Kuntz should make the top 4, and Desmond Bishop, who only played 4 seasons, but he might almost make it. But the guy we're missing is Bernardo. What the hell? Bernardo should be on this list.
And I'm also going to say Blake Martinez is better than most of these guys, too.
Yeah, but he can't make the list.
Why not? He's better than most of these guys.
It doesn't matter. I think AJ Hawk has to make it.
No, AJ Hawk.
He played forever.
He was not good. But he was not good.
He wasn't bad.
Linebacker's job is to tackle people. Linebacker's job is to make plays and bring people down so you can get off the field. And AJ Hawk, yes, while maybe he tackled some people from time to time, oftentimes did not bring people down, was never physical enough, and did not bring people down to stop them from getting first downs. AJ Hawk, no, I don't care. I don't care.
In the chat.
Blake Martinez is 4 years.
No, Blake Martinez can't make it.
I think Blake Martinez
is AJ Hawk. They're the same guy.
No, Blake Martinez
if
better
Blake
tackler.
Martinez would have went to the Giants and then all of a sudden became something, then I could agree with you. But he didn't. So as much as yes, Blake Martinez is fine, he's not a top 4 Packer during this, or inside linebacker or linebacker period during this time. He just isn't. He can't make the list. If Hawk can't make it, Martinez certainly can't make it. Because Hawk did it for 8 years, Martinez did it for 4, and they were the same guy.
Devondre Campbell is definitely not on here.
Devondre Campbell's not on here.
Desmond Bishop is only 5, 7, 8. Okay, I can't do the math, but is that like 5 seasons?
Yeah.
But
no, 5.
That's not many more.
I don't know how long Bernardo played, but I don't care.
He didn't play that long. I mean, he played. He was on the team for a while, but he didn't get to start at linebacker.
Here's the other thing: our 4th linebacker is going to be playing special teams.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take a guy I know I can trust. If my guys get hurt, he can come in and play middle linebacker and lead the team. That's Bernardo. Also, he's awesome at special teams. That's Bernardo. I'm putting Bernardo on this list. I don't give a shit. He's number 4 linebacker.
I'm putting Blake Martinez on this list. So let's make a list.
Over George Kuntz?
Yep, let's make a list. Here we go.
Can't put him on over George Kuntz.
I'm doing it. Yeah, let's do it. Who's number 1?
AJ Hawk off the list.
AJ Hawk stinks as a show host and a podcast host, and he's even worse at linebacker. I'm gonna say that. So let's get him off the list. Now, linebacker.
So the only guy we're keeping is Nick Barnett, I'm assuming.
I don't even know if I like him on here.
He was pretty damn good when he
was he that good? Was he really?
He at least made some plays. He got some picks. He ran around and did something.
Where's Brian Williams? I would take Brian Williams over some of these guys.
I'd take Brian Williams over Wayne Simmons, yes.
God dang it.
You're telling me you're not going to have any of these 4 guys on the list. You're taking Nick Barnett, AJ Hawk, Devondre Campbell, and Wayne Simmons all off, and you're going to put Desmond Bishop, Bernardo, Brian Williams, and who else did you say?
I'm going to say Bishop's number 1. Bishop's
you can't
number
put
1.
Blake Martinez on here, dude. George Kuntz has got to be over Blake Martinez.
Bishop is number 1. All right.
No, he's not.
Who do you say? Bishop's
Nick
number
Barnett.
1. You're going to say Nick Barnett? I think Bishop was a better tackler than him.
I think you're forgetting. He's kind of like Amon Green.
He's kind of like Morgan Burnett. Nick Barnett and Morgan Burnett were kind of like the same to me.
Barnett made way more plays than Morgan Burnett. Morgan Burnett made no plays.
All right, you're saying Nick Barnett. You get him at number 2. He doesn't get to be higher than that.
Okay, well, who's number 1? Who'd you put at number 1?
Desmond Bishop.
Desmond Bishop at number 1.
Desmond Bishop is number 1.
I love Desmond Bishop. Don't get me wrong. Okay, and then we're putting Bernardo. I don't care.
Bernardo is number 3, and then Big Blake is number 4.
No, George Kuntz is better than Blake Martinez. Put George Kuntz. You're forgetting. You're telling me we're not going to have a single linebacker from the Super Bowl winning team? Well, we got Bernardo.
Yeah, we got the one that mattered. George Kuntz
could cover, he could tackle, and he could blitz the quarterback. He could do all things. George Kuntz is better than Blake Martinez ever dreamed of being. If you put Blake Martinez on this list over George Kuntz, I will disown you as my brother.
All right, they're tied.
No! You take Blake Martinez off the list. He went to the Giants and did nothing. He's not half as good as... Listen, no. You are the craziest person I ever met. Your favorite guy, Lukey Patrick, I had to convince you and bug you to get him on the list. And this guy who stinks, you want to try to get him on here?
He didn't stink. He tackled everybody. He was the only guy on defense that tackled anybody for 2 seasons.
First downs. That's really great.
Because nobody else did anything. He had to tackle everybody.
Give a crap. George Kuntz got in a guy's face and smacked him. George Kuntz could cover the guy. Blake Martinez could cover anybody.
Blake Martinez.
I'd take Ty Summers over frickin'
Ty Summers. Maybe this list makes Ty Summers look pretty good.
I know it does make Ty Summers look pretty damn good, but he's not good enough to make the list. George Kuntz should be on this list. So if you not put Blake Martinez on this list. George Kuntz should be on it, and Bernardo could be number 3. George Kuntz should be number 4. That's the list. Whatever we made it.
I'm just gonna say this. People talk about Quay Walker being overhyped. This list makes Quay Walker not overhyped. Good. Yeah,
You're right.
He might be number 1 on this. Yeah,
he might be number 1 after this next year. Like if he has a good year this year, he will go to number 1 linebacker. But he's not during the Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre era. So
right,
he is.
That's true.
He played last year with Brett Favre or with Aaron Rodgers. They're the same guy.
Anyways.
Anyways, all right. So you do not have Blake Martinez on here, right? I can't see.
All right, I'll switch it for you.
Hey, come on, George Kuntz. God dang it. Okay. So Desmond Bishop, Nick Barnett, Bernardo Harris, George Kuntz. That's our starting, or not a starting, but those are our linebackers.
That's
And
sad.
we got a really good. They're going to be a lot of good defensive. We're going to be a nickel a lot with only one linebacker on the field, and apparently it's going to be Nick Barnett because the other guys are going to be playing on special teams. We're going to have a great special teams with Dez Bishop and Bernardo. Those are our leaders on our special teams. They're going to be really damn good special teams. That's all I can say.
David says Green Bay was never, to be fair, Green Bay was never known for linebackers except for from the 60s, David. You remember those linebackers.
Well, yeah.
Jonathan says George could make you quit.
Well, there you go. See? George Kuntz, make you quit.
Rick says,
Plus,
the return of Ty
Kuntz
Summers
in the
fan
crowd.
club. Yeah, Kuntz. Okay, we'll give it to him for that.
Yeah, there you
And
go.
the bar is not very high at linebacker. That's true.
It's not very high, David. You are correct, sir.
No. They did not prioritize linebacker for many years. I mean, Bernardo Harris, like Nick Barnett was a high pick. AJ Hawk, maybe that's why they stopped prioritizing it, because they went with Nick Barnett, AJ Hawk, a number 5 overall pick, and he was a sorry. That's what he was.
He wasn't as bad as you think he was, but I guess you kept him off the list, and I don't really.
He was so not impactful. Like at middle linebacker, that is the point. You make plays, you tackle people, you do stuff that changes the game, and he didn't do any of that. He was such a putz. AJ, if there was a picture to put next to the word putz in Wikipedia or the dictionary, it should be a picture of AJ Hawk in a football uniform.
Okay, you're gonna get some fans mad, so just calm down.
I'm sorry, AJ Hawk was a putz. I know Bruce has his jersey, but Bruce, he sucked.
We can move on. It's getting late. I got to work at 5 in the morning.
All right, go ahead.
All right, are we ready? You got everybody on the list? We're good?
Yeah, they're all there.
All right, sweet. Cornerback, this one is also making me mad. Now, number 1, no doubt, Charles Woodson, 100%. No doubt. Number 2, Jair
Number 2 is
Alexander.
Tremont Williams.
Number 2 is Tremont Williams. Just put it. You start writing it up right now. You're right.
100%.
Charles Woodson, number 1. Tremont Williams, number 2. 100% agree.
Jair Alexander wishes he could be as good as Tremont Williams.
Right.
Or as impactful. He has talent, but he doesn't make plays enough.
And Al Harris does not make my top 5.
No, Al Harris is nothing. He's a piece of garbage. Please.
Jair, I don't know if he's going to make my top 5.
I don't know if he will either.
Sam Shields, I don't know if he's going to make my top 5. He's got honorable mentions of Mike McKenzie and Craig Newsome. They don't make my top 5. Doug Evans is making my top 5 because when he played,
he's
he
number
was
3.
Freaking amazing. So I agree. Charles Woodson, Tremont Williams, Doug Evans. Those are our top 3. We need 2 more. And number 5 is Rasul Douglas. So you can put whoever the hell you want at 4. But Rasul Douglas is making this damn list because if I have a team, I want Rasul Douglas on my damn team. So now we need is a number 4 between Sam Shields, Jair, and I know you hate Jair, and that's why I'm worried about you not putting him on here.
It's not that I hate him. He's not.
But would he be a good number 4 on this particular team? A smaller guy who can cover a slot guy, maybe? Well, Charles Woodson's our star. He's our slot. So we're gonna have.
And Charles Woodson tackle people like Jair can't. Jair can't sniff.
Rasul should be number 4. Rasul should be number 4. So this is our number 5. Who's our number 5?
Jair cannot sniff Charles Woodson's farts, and he can't even get in the ballpark of being as good as Tremont Williams. So I don't know why everyone thinks he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. He's freaking not. Like, get off the Jair hype train already.
He's not as bad as you say he is, though.
No, I'm not. But I don't say he's bad. I just say he's so overhyped. It's ridiculous.
Dude, I told you he's a 21st best player.
No, based on what?
In the top 100
cannot.
players in the NFL, Jair was number 21. The only
No.
Packer was Jair Alexander at 21.
Where does he impact the game?
I don't know.
There's no impact. He doesn't.
Not like Rasul.
Oh my God! Stop it already. He's not even the best cornerback on his own team. He's not.
No.
Like, stop it. Oh my God! I'm sick of trying to educate people. It pisses me off. I'm just done with it. Because it makes me seem like I hate him and like he's not good. He is a good player, but he is limited in what he can do, right? He's limited. He's not physical. He doesn't tackle. He's not great in zone coverage. He's not great at finding the ball and being aware. He is pretty good as a man coverage guy, and he's also best when he can grab and hold and get away with that stuff. Now, that's the only reason. This is my theory. That's the only reason for the Packer hype train with Jair is they know that the corners in the league that get talked about like they're the best corners get away with shit, right? Don't they, Ben? They get away with extra grabs and holds and stuff like that. Isn't that correct?
I don't know, but you're going to make Lee mad. He says he likes Jair, so you're going to make
That's
Lee
fine
mad.
that you like him.
I trust Lee on his stuff.
It's not that I don't like him. It's that he's not the best cornerback
Lee
in the
really
world.
likes Jair. Lee really likes Jair.
Well, good. That's good. But he's not the best cornerback in the league, and he's limited. And what I'm saying is the hype train is this. The hype train is the Packers are pumping him up so much so he can grab and hold more often and get away with it because if you remember his rookie season when he burst onto the scene, and his rookie season, he was very impactful for a rookie. But he grabbed and he held and he pulled and he got those advantages. And if the Packers can pump him up to the level of he gets away with what Richard Sherman got away with, he gets away with what Jalen Ramsey got away with, gets away with what Sauce Gardner got away with last year, he will be better. So I think the idea of all this pump up is that we're going to try to get
play that way.
I know, but it can still help him. Now the problem is this. Here is what it will result in: more incomplete passes. But because he's not good at adjusting and finding the ball in the air, it will not result in more game-changing plays.
Okay, but we have Charles Woodson
Just
and
letting
Tramon
you know.
Williams and Rasul Douglas on this team, so we don't need him to do that.
I know.
Here's my suggestion. This is what I'm going to say. I think we should take 6 corners instead of 5.
I'll put him in here.
Put Jair at put him at number 6 because I think Sam Shields should be number 5. And Lee and not Lee, but David says that the defense, once they lost Sam Shields, it was never the same, and he's right because Sam was fast enough to make plays and get picks because he played receiver before. He had great hands. I say we have 6 corners because our safeties are going to stink, and we can always put Charles Woodson or Rasul Douglas back there at safety if we need to. So I say we have 6 corners. We make Rasul cornerback number 4. We make Sam Shields cornerback number 5, and we put Jair Alexander cornerback number 6.
Who was number 3?
Who was number 3?
Yeah, it wasn't Al Harris. I remember that.
Doug Evans. What the hell's wrong with you?
Mike McKenzie is a just missed on this guy. What the hell? Over Doug Evans? That's just dumb.
And Craig Newsome. Craig Newsome is probably the most overhyped player.
Yeah, just because he was a first-round pick, get the hell out of here.
Doug Evans was way better than him on the same team. I mean, come on. Doug Evans was way, way, way better.
So who's our number 5?
Okay, Charles Woodson, number 1. Tramon Williams, number
Woodson,
2.
Tremont,
Doug Evans, number 3. Rasul Douglas, number 4. Sam Shields, number 5.
Sam,
so he's exactly the same spot as he is on here. And then we add a 6 corner and Jair at 6 because we're going to cut a safety. If we lose safeties, we're going to put Charles Woodson at safety, or we're going to put Rasul Douglas at safety, and we'll be fine because those guys are awesome.
I'd put Rasul at safety. He'd be awesome. All right.
Yeah, we'll be fine. So we got 6 corners.
All right. So just
5.
Just a heads up, everybody. The guy that everybody thinks is the greatest cornerback in the world right now is number 6 on this list, but whatever.
Right.
All right. We're running the list. We're running the list. What do you got for safeties here?
Moving on to safeties. Here we go.
Safeties kind of sad list
so
over the years.
We're going to have 3 safeties, and that's it. Leroy Butler is number 1.
Darren Sharper, you don't get to be on our list because you're a total douchebag.
Darren Sharper is number 1. Nick Collins number 2. No doubts there. So we got one more.
Leroy Butler number 1. Yeah,
that's what I said. Leroy Butler.
You said Darren Sharper. You said Darren Sharper.
Oh my God! No, not Darren Sharper. What the hell? No.
Darren Sharper is disqualified from a Hafeman Bros list because when you're a criminal and you do that stuff. Sorry, I don't care how good you were.
Yeah. Just like Bill Cosby is one of the greatest comics of all time, but he no longer exists. So there you go.
Sorry.
Okay, so we got Leroy Butler, Nick Collins. Now we got to come up with one more safety. And it's not going to be Morgan Burnett. I'm sorry. He doesn't make plays.
No, he's weak.
I think it's obvious we have to do something crazy. And we're going to take a guy who never played safety for the Packers. But he's one of the best safeties in the league right now. And he did play for the Packers, and he played awesome. And they should have played him at safety.
Smart.
And that's going to be Micah Hyde.
He's
Makes
on my
our list.
team.
Number 3 safety. Actually, maybe he should be number 2 over Nick Collins. But we'll
he's on my team.
I think he should be number 2 over Nick Collins.
No. Nick Collins is too good.
So Leroy Butler, number 1. Nick Collins, number 2. Micah Hyde, number 3. We only got 3 safeties because we can take Rasul and move him over there if we need to. We're fine. Safety was the easiest one to do. David, I told you last week, don't you say stuff like that. David said Rasul Douglas should always be an outside corner. David, I told you. Rasul Douglas ranked number 9 out of players who played 100 snaps at the nickel/slot defender last year in ranking per PFF. Number 9 in the NFL. which means
Ridiculous.
he is a good middle safety or slot safety or corner. God, I'm losing it. I'm getting tired.
He's good at everything. He's good at covering people. He's good at locating the ball in the air. He's good at recognizing in space too. How to do? Remember the Tennessee game where he peeled off his guy and just basically played safety and picked off Ryan Tannehill because Ryan Tannehill wasn't expecting him to be there.
Well, he did that to a couple guys.
I know, but that's the kind of stuff like that a safety would do. Like you'd want Darnell Savage to do, but he can't.
David, trust me. I know you hear this all the time that Rasul sucked last year at corner. Andy Herman says it constantly. All the reporters say it constantly. Don't believe it. The stats and the film tells you the truth. Did he give up some receptions? Yes, he did. He did.
Not that many.
He's not a quick twitch guy. So
almost the exact same number of yards that Jair gave up last year.
Right.
The best.
No, I'm talking about in the slot. Like he probably did give up some catches in the slot because he can't cover the short, quick guys. But then don't put him on the short, quick guys. If a short, quick guy lines up in the slot, have him and Jair switch spots. That's how you do it. But if he goes up against a slot guy who's bigger, he can handle him. He just can't handle guys like these little jitterbug guys. So that's all I'm saying, David. Don't believe everything you hear.
Hey, Jonathan with an honorable mention for Mike Pryor in here.
Mike Pryor! You know what? If we didn't have the guy we're going to have as a return man, I would say Mike Pryor could just sit back there and catch punts, but we got a different guy for return man, I think, and I agree with the guy's choice here.
All right, so hang on one second. We got a couple of comments to get to. William G. What's
up?
They should have never let Micah Hyde go.
Hey, that's the comment of the night. That's the comment of the night. Remember we said at the start of the show we had the best comment of the night? That is the best comment of the most truthful comment of tonight.
That was the start. That was the start of the decline for Ted Thompson. Sorry, Ted.
That was the biggest mistake in the history of Ted Thompson's reign.
They like Eugene Robinson. He was good. He was pretty good. But, when you get... I don't know.
He played 1 year, and then he went and got in trouble for going to the Stars. And then the Falcons lost the Super Bowl to stupid Broncos, and that was all his fault because he went to
when you make bad choices the eve of the Super Bowl,
that's not a smart move. Especially when you're a married man in your late 30s or 40 or however old he was.
Holy crap. David says, Rasul Douglas's signing is why I believe in Goody. Well, the initial signing when the Raiders cast him away and 4 other teams cast him away.
The Cardinals, yeah.
Cardinals thought he wasn't good enough to be even. He had to put him on the practice squad. What a bunch of dummies. Okay, all right, continue on.
All right, here we go. We're moving on past it. You got the safeties all on there. Micah Hyde, number 3.
They're all on there.
All right,
Micah Hyde maybe Micah Hyde's number 1. Well, he's not number 1, but he should be. He's definitely should have been a safety. For
Roy Butler is. We didn't talk about Leroy here, but obviously
Roy's the man.
Hall of Famer, the man. Lambeau Leap, awesome. Ambassador for the Packers. Took less money to stay with him for all those years. He's the man. He's the man. He's the man. He's the Aaron Jones of defense in the history of the Packers, no doubts. Awesome guy.
And Nick Collins also wore 36, and the dude was insanely talented and super good, and way better than you probably realized when he was playing.
Yeah,
and how we're seeing that is ever since he's been hurt. You see how garbage our safeties have been. That just shows it's the same sort of thing. So Nick Collins was super good too. So continue on.
I'm liking this safe. Those 3. Those damn good safeties right there. I'll tell you that.
We'd win some. We'd never get. Yeah, we'd have some impactful plays from our safeties. Huh?
All right, so now we're moving on.
All right,
special teams. We got 5 guys. Mason Crosby,
Craigie Hendrick. He's pretty
one
good.
nut. Brett Good at long snapper, and Desmond Howard.
That was Josh Bidwell. That was Josh Bidwell that had.
Oh yeah, Josh Bidwell was one nut.
Sorry, Craig. I got a little thrown off there.
And then the guys who just missed was Jarrett Bush as auxiliary guy, Keyshawn Nixon for 1 season, Travis Jury just because Eckes is there. Yes. I agree with all these picks. I don't have any problem with any of these guys.
Did Mason Crosby just miss too? Oh no, he made
Mason
it.
Crosby's he's played the whole time.
He still says he's staying ready. He's staying ready, Ben.
Okay. Well, I don't know about that. So we got Mason Crosby, Greg Hendrick, Brett Good, and Desmond Howard. I don't think there's anybody. I think that's fine. Sure.
Think that's fine?
Maybe we can get rid of
Ryan
Brett Good and have
Longwell?
a different guy, but Ryan Longwell. He went to the Vikings. I can't trust him.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's true.
Can't trust him. We'll put Mason Crosby out for Mom. Mom loves Mason Crosby.
Yeah,
That makes
Mason
sense.
Crosby.
I agree. This
All
is the
right.
one I agree with. I agree with these. This is fine.
I'm not sure about Brett Good as a long snapper because I was
Who
never
else
in
is there
favor.
that's any good?
Well, you know what? I would in my team. I would not. I'm just gonna say
Lukey
this.
Patrick, long snapper.
In my team, I would not have a designated lawn snapper but that's all he did. I'm sorry, but someone else on the team would have to long snap.
Okay,
So
let's make
backup
Lukey
tight
Patrick.
end.
Lukey Patrick will be the long snapper as our backup
Oh,
auxiliary
goddamn.
guy.
I'm
So
down
now
with
we
that.
can have a special teams ace. Who is our special teams ace?
Yeah, let's do that. All right.
Let's make a Keyshawn Nixon.
I would
After
take.
only one season, can we put Keyshawn Nixon on here? He could also be return man if Desmond Howard gets hurt. And he's going to run down there and go crazy and start smacking guys. It also gives us another corner if we need him. Because I'd take Keyshawn Nixon over Jared Bush. Sorry.
Yeah, it's just that Jared Bush did it for a long time, but
Mike Pryor.
Mike Pryor was a safety guy.
Ooh, Chris Jackie. Chris Jackie.
He did play.
I trust Chris Jackie more than Mason Crosby. Maybe we got to put Chris Jackie in there. Mom will be mad. Chris Jackie has a presence on Facebook, by the way. He's always talking smack to people on there. He is not a fan of Aaron Rodgers, too. Oh, yeah.
Ooh, Chris Jackie.
I see him say some stuff about Aaron Rodgers on there, and I'm like, whoa. He's not a fan of Aaron Rodgers.
Mason, Craigie Hendrick, Desmond Howard. He was really only a returner for them for 1 year. I know he was Super Bowl MVP, though.
Yeah, Super Bowl MVP. I mean, come on. Keyshawn Nixon's only returner man for 1 year, too.
Well, then we're putting Keyshawn on here for our special teams, everything.
Yeah, because he could also be our gunner.
That's one fine. I'm good with that.
Let's put Keyshawn. That's fine. Either him or like Robert Brooks. We could have him be a gunner.
Robert Brooks was pretty good too.
Wait,
Walter Stanley. Can we
Walter
get?
Stanley. Did he ever play Brett Favre? I don't think he ever did.
He was too old.
Otherwise, we put Walter Stanley for sure.
Actually, you know what? God dang, Micah Hyde could be on here too.
Right, Micah Hyde could be a return man. Yeah, you're right.
He was one of our best returners. He was so good.
Yeah,
and he wasn't even that fast, but he's like one of the guys that could see the field, you know, had sure hands, could see the field.
I know who it is, Chase. I know who it is.
Who is it?
I know who our auxiliary special teamer should be.
I know who it is too. It's gotta be one of the linebackers.
No. Oh yeah, maybe. I was thinking more JT.
Jeff Thompson, but I'm thinking it might have to be the beast, the kick your ass linebacker.
Amon Hollenquist.
Yep.
Or Keith McKenzie.
Oh, because we can put him in a pass rush. He's our edge guy, our edge rusher too. Yes, Keith McKenzie. Wow.
Special teams all around and back up. Yeah, Keith McKenzie, because we need another edge rusher.
He should probably probably be on the edge rusher list over some of those guys.
Well, maybe we should go back and change it. Get Sean Jones off there and put Keith McKenzie on.
That way we
can get Lamont Hollenquist or Justin or Jeff Thompson on here.
God dang it, you're right.
Which guy should we put on? Let's go back and fix it. Can you go back and fix it?
Yeah, I can fix it. All right, Hollenquist. Is it Quist or Quest?
Quest, I think. Maybe it is Quist. Lamont Hollenquist. I don't know. You put Lamont on there over Jeff Thompson?
Yep. He was more dangerous because he was a linebacker.
He was more dangerous. All right. Well, we just added a couple. We sure helped out our linebackers by adding.
I'm gonna help out the edge guys by putting Keith. I don't know how we forgot about Keith McKenzie.
I don't know how we did either.
All right, let's talk about edge. We got Clay Matthews, Aaron Campman.
Okay, I'm gonna lose this screen because that's the end. So I'm gonna
Kabir and Honolulu Jones.
See what the heck we got going on here.
I'm gonna say Keith McKenzie is number 2 on that list. I'm gonna say he's edge 2.
Come on. I don't know about that. Come on. I don't know about that.
Keith McKenzie and he played well for the Browns too. Remember that. After he left the Packers.
Yeah.
He's number 2. All right. I'm switching it up here because it has to be done, guys. I can't believe we forgot about Keith McKenzie.
Yeah, I forget about Keith McKenzie. He's amazing.
He was better than Kabir. He was more dynamic than...
He was kind of the Micah Hyde of pass rushers. Guy that never got a shot.
Don't forget how many half sacks he gave away to Reggie.
Oh yeah, that's
Reggie
right. Reggie White half sack one.
So Keith McKenzie by far.
Our defense looks a lot better now. Remember Keith McKenzie. Okay, let's go over the list.
All right.
Number 1, quarterback Rodgers. 2, Hasselbeck. 3, Favre. Running back Aaron Jones, Amon Green, Dorsey Levens. Fullback John Kuhn. Wide receiver Sterling Sharp, Jordy Nelson, Donald Driver, Greg Jennings, Devontae Adams, and Stonio Hands Freeman. Tight end, number 1, Jermichael Finley. Number 2, Chewy. Number 3, Bubba Franks. Offensive linemen, Bakhtiari, TJ Lang, Scotty Wells, Adam Timmerman, Mark Tauscher, our starting offensive line. God damn, that's good. Backups, Kenny Rutgers, Josh Sitton, Frankie Baggy Donuts, LP, Lukey Patrick, and who's also our long snapper, and Clifton just barely squeaked in at our backup tackle. D-line, Reggie White, the greatest of all time, BJ Raji, Mike Daniels, Sneak Attack, Colin Jenkins, awesome, everybody forgets about him, and Santana Dotson, who makes a bunch of plays behind the line of scrimmage, even though he plays D-tackle. Our edge rushers, Clay Matthews, Keith McKenzie, also special teams demon, Aaron Campman, awesome guy, and Kabir Baja-Biamila, whose brother does play-by-play for the team. Linebackers, we got Desmond Bishop, Nick Barnett, Bernardo Harris, and George Kuntz. We got corners, Charles Woodson, Tremont Williams, Doug Evans, Rasul Douglas. God damn, those first 4 are good. Sam Shields, and of course, Jair. We had to throw him in there. Safety is probably our best lineup, which is weird. Butler, Collins, and Micah Hyde, unstoppable. Great safeties right there. Our kicker, Mason Crosby. Our punter, Craig Hentrick. Our kick returner, Desmond Howard. And then our secret sneak attack, special teams ace, Lamont Holland Quest. That is the D-bag era, Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers era, 53-man roster, the best 53-man roster in the history of all D-bag 53-man rosters. Way better than the one they came up with on whatever I think I saw. What a show. 2 hours of amazing team building by the Hafeman Bros and all the guys in the chat. Thank you for your help. Your guys we forgot about helped us make decisions on guys. We did move a couple. I said we were going to move a couple things. We did. We moved the safety to a corner. We added a couple guys here and there. Luckily, we remembered Keith McKenzie right at the end.
That was good. Yeah.
We were looking pretty rough at pass rusher. Remember, we got Reggie. He can make plays at rushing the passer too. So we're not doing too bad. But that definitely sure up our pass rush by remembering Keith McKenzie. If Nico was on here, he would have reminded us about Keith McKenzie. So,
100%.
Awesome list. I tell you, I cannot think of a better team in the history of the NFL and that's just guys over the course of 30 years, right? 30 years of football from 1992 to 2022.
Yep.
The Bears, a 30-year period.
Think about the other teams in the division. Their lists are much less impressive. Vikings, Bears.
David says this team Super Bowl winners, of course, and then he says, "Oh, but Rodgers never had any help." You're right, David. That's a good joke, buddy.
Who's the coach of this team? David says it should be Holmgren.
It's Mike Holmgren because he's the only player. He's the only coach who won 2 Super Bowls with 2 different teams. Oh wait, he didn't. That's right. He got fucked by the refs. Anyways, I'm pissed. I'm so pissed about that. I still am. Matt Hasselbeck should be a Super Bowl winning quarterback. Mike Holmgren should be the only head coach in the history of the NFL to win 2 Super Bowls with 2 different organizations, period. Yep. Mike Holmgren is the coach of this team, and he's going to start Matt Hasselbeck over those other 2 douchebags. I can tell you that.
That's true. He would. Yep.
I'll tell you that. And therefore, Matt Hasselbeck should be number 1, like I said in the beginning. Change it. Change it right now. No, I'm serious. You change it right now because you got to think of who the head coach is. It's Mike Holmgren. And he's not going to start Favre because he freaking gave him a bunch of ulcers and stuff. So he's not starting Favre. And Aaron Rodgers hates him. He's going to go with Matt Hasselbeck as his starter. So put Hasselbeck as number 1 right now. Change it in the thing.
Think about that real quick. If Matt Hasselbeck got to throw to some of the receivers Aaron Rodgers got to throw to instead of the garbage receivers he had to throw to, how awesome would that?
Absolutely terrible now. They've been sitting here for like 2 hours. Oh my God, they're gross.
No, but just think about that. If Hasselbeck had receivers like Rodgers had.
I know.
Damn.
What a team. Man, This has got me fired up.